All right, guys, so we're going to look at these photosynthesis questions. If you are remote or if you are absent, you can do it this way. Those people who are working in class will be given a paper copy of this. And if you're looking at it, you might be a little confused because it has colors listed under here. Those of you who are doing this online are not going to worry about the colors. There's actually a second page to this where students are supposed to color a diagram, certain colors. But with you being remote, we're not going to worry about that. So basically, you're just going to go through, you're going to answer those 10 questions, and you're going to put it in the text box. So there should be a blue submit button up here. You'll want to hit that submit button, and that is going to open up that text box down there. So make sure you number your answers, and you can tell me which answer choice you are picking. Okay, I'll pull my paper over here to the side so you can see what I'm doing. Question number 1. The process by which cells capture energy from the sun and convert it into food is called cellular respiration, photosynthesis, or diffusion. Well, we haven't talked about cellular respiration yet, and that's actually the process that animals go through to make energy. Photosynthesis is what this chapter is all about, so I'm going to go with that one. Diffusion we talked about in the last section, and that is just molecules moving from a high concentration to a low concentration. Nothing really to do with converting anything into food. Question number 2. Plants use water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight to produce oxygen, water, and they're producing nitrogen, chlorophyll, or glucose. Okay, so nitrogen is just an element that exists on its own. We don't actually have to make it. Chlorophyll is a pigment inside of the leaves that is going to help this whole photosynthesis process work, and they are making glucose. That is the carbohydrate that plants use for energy. In which cell organelle does photosynthesis occur? The chloroplast, the nucleus, or the mitochondria? So the chloroplast is the only organelle that plants have that we don't have in common. So I'm going to go with that one. Because if we had a chloroplast, we would be able to photosynthesize as well. We do have a nucleus, and we also have mitochondria. A plant's green color comes from a pigment called chlorophyll, carotene, or anthocyanin. Well, chloroplasts are green, and that is because of the chlorophyll. We'll go with chlorophyll on that one. Those other two, I'm actually not sure what they do. Carotene kind of sounds like carrot, so I would venture to say that that's going to be an orange pigment, but I'm not sure exactly, and I have no idea what anthocyanin is. What is the source of energy for photosynthesis? Soil, sunlight, or glucose? Well, soil is what plants grow in, but not necessarily a source of energy. I mean, they get nutrients from it, but that's about it. They get all their energy from the sunlight, and glucose is what is made as a result. So, not going to be getting their energy for photosynthesis from glucose. The tiny openings on the underside of a leaf that help plants take in carbon dioxide are called thylakoid membranes, chloroplasts, or stomata. Well, thylakoid membranes and chloroplasts are both organelles, and those are going to be inside of cells, so you're not able to really see them or touch them. A stomata is the answer we're going with for this one. What structure contains the chlorophyll that is used to absorb light? Chloroplast, thylakoid, or stroma? Structure contains the chlorophyll. Well, the overall structure is called a chloroplast. The thylakoid are inside of the chloroplast, and that is actually the main site for photosynthesis, but I wouldn't say that that's the only place that chlorophyll is located. And the stroma is just this jelly-like fluid inside of a chloroplast, kind of like your cytoplasm in your cells. Which of the following is not required for photosynthesis to take place? Well, we know they need sunlight, and they also need water. It's going to be oxygen. They actually give off oxygen, which is why it's so good to have plants around and why we actually need them. That's where we get our oxygen from. We give off carbon dioxide, they use that carbon dioxide to make glucose, and then they give us back oxygen in return. So it's just a cycle. If we get rid of all the plants, we're also going to get rid of all of our oxygen. What happens to the sugar that plants make during photosynthesis? It is stored as a starch for later use. It evaporates through the stomata, or it returns to the soil. Well, it wouldn't make sense for it to evaporate. Glucose can't evaporate. That would be water. Plant isn't going to give it back to the soil. It spent all this time making those nutrients, so it's going to keep it. It is going to store it. I'll say starch for later use. I said earlier that it's a carbohydrate, and starches are carbohydrates. The source of oxygen produced during photosynthesis. The source of oxygen produced during photosynthesis is glucose, water, or sunlight. Well, you're not going to get oxygen from sunlight, otherwise we wouldn't really need plants for that. Glucose, chemically speaking, is C6H12O6, but that's produced at the end, so you couldn't produce oxygen from something that is produced. Water is actually a reactant, and whenever you break water apart, you are going to be getting oxygen as a result. H2O is the chemical breakdown for water, and it's going to use those hydrogens and give off the oxygens. So that is the 10 questions and our answers there. Alrighty guys, I'll talk to you later.